For the latest top tips, reviews and advice, please subscribe below.
Hello and welcome to Attwoolls Outdoors with me, Mike. Today I'm giving you a bit of a review video on a brand new tent from Vango. So here today I've got the Vango Sherwood Air TC600XL. So the Sherwood's actually a model that's, or a style should we say, has been in kind of Vango's collection for a couple of years now. So the new TC version is sort of all of that plus obviously a polycotton fabric, but we'll go through the tent in a bit more detail. I'll talk through pros and cons of polycotton as well, just to give you a bit more of an idea. So what we're looking at here is kind of almost Vango's sort of upper level polycotton inflatable tent. They do make a polyester version of this, which you can look at in air and also in pold. And there's also a smaller version of this Sherwood in TC, but it's in a 400 size, so it is shorter and a little bit shorter in the width as well. Now, you've got this absolute gorgeous green polycotton fabric. This is a real nice 210 gram polycotton material, 65-35% polyester polycotton ratios. So it looks really great. Webbing store straps on the front to give you great tension to the roof. Fully inflatable as well, so we've got each beam has got obviously its own individual inflation point. We've got a little brown canopy just to take the rain off the side door as well. But each beam is done individually. A single inflation point on every section. You get a manual stirrup pump supplied with as standard, so you get a pressure gauge on there as well, so that gives you a 7 psi as recommended pressure. Now, the Sherwood's kind of a free zone tent, so you've got sleeping, living, and then also like actually what is an enclosed front awning section. Now, we've rolled the door up just to kind of give it a bit more of an open feel, but these doors can come directly down. Big windows in place of them as well. In fact, let's just open up a little bit. To give you an idea, that will also zip down, peg out, and then you can also got half and half, so you can kind of orientate which way your entranceway wants to be. Personally, I probably see it better as that having that as your cooking area. So I'd probably put that door down, have this one rolled up. The only reason I sort of say about that is because, one, you've got a entrance point located on the side here as well, but more importantly, when you go to the middle door into the main living area, it's actually fixed, so you kind of create almost a bit of a dead end space in the corner by having it around the corner there. Now, polycotton has its pros and cons. Pro is definitely the breathability side of things, so it's a more natural fabric, so it feels more like your kind of canvas style. It's breathable, so on a warm day it's cooler inside, but on a cold day basically it contracts and keeps the warmth directly in. So it's more comfortable, and also because it's more of a natural fabric, you haven't got a sort of synthetic kind of flapping noise, so it does sit well and look nicer, and you haven't got the rain or things like that coming directly down. Other things to bear in mind is that it does have a longer lifespan, so it will last you about 2 to 3 times the length of a polyester tent. The only thing to be aware of is obviously it's more expensive because of better fabric, but also it's bulkier and heavier as well, so you have to kind of weigh the pros and cons of whether you want to go something for this size or just go down for the normal polyester version of this tent. And probably, I'd say it's probably around about 15 kilograms difference between one and the other, just because the sheer fabric itself is obviously to the level. Like I said, we've got a brown canopy on this side, so it's a fiberglass panel. This is then have your mesh door, so you have airflow into the front canopy section when the front door's directly down, or it's your rain safe door as well, so if it's chucking on rain and you want to kind of have the front door completely closed, you can come in and out of here and the water's not going to come into that front section itself. Again, you can open it up or just have it as a ventilation point. We've got crystal clear windows on the side, and we've got a mesh door again on this side here as well, and then bedroom points. Now, we've got storm straps on the front and back to give great tension to the roof, a two-tone kind of guideline as well, just to kind of highlight where obviously trip hazards are, but it kind of gives it a little bit more pop and blends into something that's obviously a typical kind of Vango orange at that point. Now, other thing I do quite like is you've got a little mesh pockets located there, so when you've done with the guy ropes, you can actually store them in the mesh pocket. That's quite unique in this sense. And also there's low-level ventilation points beneath this side down here as well, which is really quite good. Now, let's bring the camera around a little bit, just to give a bit of understanding of the front section. So as we kind of come through, you can probably get a better understanding for that almost that sort of free zone section. So we've got the open canopy, or enclosed canopy if you will. We've got this solid mesh panel / window, and then we're into the bedroom section right at the back itself. Now, it's worth bearing in mind this is very similar probably to the Vango Ventalis. The Ventalis always sits up a specification above it in many ways, just because of the sheer size of it, but the floor plans are very similar. So it's worth having a look at that if you like the looks of this. The Ventalis is about a similar price point, but just because it's not has a couple of features on it, it's actually got, to be fair, some of the extra ones. It just gives you a bit more flexibility, but have a look at that one as well. Now, you get a footprint supply with this tent as well as standard, so you've got a ground sheet for this front section. Naturally, I probably wouldn't put it in myself unless you have that door fully down and left it all the time, because this is, for me, is your wet dry area. As I sort of mentioned before, you probably have that door down, that becomes your entrance way, and you have like a little kind of cooking section located there. I mean, you could have it there, just I think the flow won't work quite now. There's always the brown canopy and a mesh, as you obviously have the airflow, so if you were shutting yourself up, you could put it directly here if you wanted to. Yeah, so I could work actually. Now, as we come into the main kind of part of the tent itself, like I said, we've got this big mesh window at the front here as well, and then this is the doorway that opens. So, like I said, door is fixed, but you can zip it closed, which will give you more ventilation if you need to be. So that can zip up like that. But then you bring the curtain down and you've got mesh in both sections there. So that's like your complete mesh front door. The other thing to bear in mind is with the door itself, it doesn't zip along the bottom. It only sort of toggles up in place. So it's maybe not quite as thorough as something like the Ventalis, which has a physical zip, nor does panel open fully. So, but the thing I do keep coming back to on the Sherwood in particular is just the gorgeous green colour you have here. You've got a good sized living space here. So technically it's a 6-berth, and it's a true 6-berth at that. So 440 wide, plenty of room in the front section. You can even buy an additional bedroom to go into here if you want to make an 8-berth for that matter. But feels quite spacious. The beams, I mean, I6.2 is not quite as tall as some of the other models that they've been in the past. But when you get to the corners, you think like your furniture stuff can still be pushed up quite, just because of the nature of the very boxy kind of structure. You've got zip curtains on all of the windows as well, so you literally zip them up halfway, fully up, or however you want it to do. And there's sky windows which will always be exposed as well, so you still allow a natural light coming in, even when you want your privacy with the curtains. We've got Vango's TBS system as well, so it stands for tension band. Additional strapping that goes in here, basically, as you can see. Personally, you probably put them as only when you'll leave a tent for a while or you get really windy weather. It just gives a bit more structure. So this triangle formation with the guy ropes gives, when you have wind coming from one side, it kind of braces it and keeps its overall shape. So it works in their kind of higher-end backpacking tents, and some of they filter down into their family tent range as well. As we saw from the outside, there's a mesh door on its left-hand side here as well. And then beneath all of the windows, pretty much, well, the first two sides here anyway, there's a low-level ventilation point which you have additional airflow in here as well. You've got Vango Skytrack system located on the beams, so literally 1, 2, 3. So that's obviously comes standard, so you can have things like lights hanging up or have storage organisers like we have on this one here, so you can sort of declutter the main part of your tent nice and neatly. We've got a little sofa located on the corner there, which works really well. And in the bedroom section at the back here, we've got, as I said, the ability to sleep 6, and it's a true 6-berth. So we're looking at a 2, 2, and a 2. You find it's a 140, 160, 120. So in terms of the width that is, and it's a standard 210 depth. So you're going to struggle a little bit with kind of high-rise airbeds to fit in with a depth point of view, but certainly width-wise it works really well. We've got a little camp bed located, a little low camp bed in the far corner over there, just to kind of show you how that looks. Other things to bear in mind is you've got a nice big mesh panel located on the front here, so you have airflow into it, into the inner itself, and there's actually little kind of lantern in the back sections, little mesh pockets in the bedroom to kind of declutter the main kind of body of the tent, put things like keys, phones, that sort of stuff directly in. Cable entry point is located on the far side over here, and you've also should have one, he says, through that section there, so you have sort of mains coming from that front area into the main kind of living area itself. But let's actually bring the camera in just to get a better feel for the actual Sherwood itself. So we look at the kind of the canopy depth to start with. So as you see with the brown canopy, that's going to be your sort of main entranceway directly in. As we kind of swoop in, We've got our table and chair set just located there to show you kind of the overall depth you've got with the canopy itself. And we're moving into the mesh part. It's also worth mentioning there's a little hanger point for a lantern located directly there. And then we've got a trip-free access, which, like I said, toggles in, toggles up as needed. Sofa to kind of demonstrate how wide the bedroom, the main living area directly is. And then we've got zip-up curtains, which you can see in the corner, just to get the privacy as you need to, and located with the sky windows directly on top. And that is the same on both sides. Little storage points, again, that's with using the sky hooks. Kind of sits nice and neatly there just to kind of give and declutter the main part of the tent. It's a great use of the space there as well, just to maximise your overall internal space. And then sleeping compartments at the back here, so we've got, like I said, the 2, 2 and 2, but there are zip dividers between the sections, so it can become one big open bedroom. Appreciate it's pretty dark, so you can't quite see it, but you can see the zip dividers located there. There's also a little pockets, as mentioned before, down the bottom when you need to. But again, you've got the little sky track that's built onto the front section, so and the TBS, as we previously mentioned as well. But I'll say that like, fits really well, suits really nice. I think it just that, I'm going to call it Attwoolls green, because that's what it looks like to me. It just looks very classy, if I'm not going to blow my own trumpet in that sense. Yeah, I just think, whether I'm just biased, no, am I biased because of the green colour? I don't know, it just looks really nice. And you've got a load of ventilation points down the bottom as well, which you can actually bring out and lower down, so you can have airflow sort of gusting into there if you wanted to, but you've got the security, you can just seal up as and when. At the back again, storm struts you can see, and there's again a ventilation point located underneath that point as well, just to kind of help with airflow. But because the fabric itself breathes, you will find it will make a big difference to a day within the UK, let alone go across to France or anything like that. You know, there's a fundamental big difference on that front. On the whole, I think it's a model that I think it's been a nice addition to the range, and something that the Sherwood, when it was first launched, actually came out really well. I think people love the concept, and you run about 50. It's 55 kilograms for this model, so it's not the lightest thing. It comes in like a roller bag, for example, but it's something you've got to compare and contrast. I think the polyester version I said is in a region about 15-ish kilograms lighter there or thereabouts, so it's quite a jump up and jump down when you compare it like for like. But yeah, I think it's got the core feature you need. It's, you know, price point wise, it's very keen on the money. It's not quite as nice as something like I said, the Vango Ventanis, the TC version of that, which has everything this has pretty much, but feels a bit bigger and is a slightly higher spec. So it's one to bear in mind, but I think from an aesthetical point of view, the colours of this looks really sharp. I like, yeah. And I think it's been well received, this kind of green generally in the market as well. So, but for more information on the actual Sherwood itself, check the link below this video, take you straight through to our website where we've got more information on things like pack sizes, floor dimensions, individual features all listed for you as well as little pitching videos we've done. So you've got a real mix of stuff to have a look at. So, but no, on the whole, that's been our little video review on the Vango Sherwood Air TC 600 XL.